I'm Vicky Linnane and welcome to Embrace Therapy podcast. I am a practicing art therapist based in Ireland. In each episode, I will interview guests from various fields of therapy and wellbeing with the aim to encourage healing through embracing therapy. On this week's podcast, I'm joined by music therapist Jessica Harris. Jessica is the founder of the music therapy department within the Royal Irish Academy of Music. Her approach is person-centred and psychodynamic, supporting and meeting HIQUA standards. She is very passionate and committed to providing opportunities for change, hope and joy. I really loved chatting to Jessica and I hope that you enjoy listening to our conversation.
Jess, you're very welcome on the show. Thank you so much for your time and coming on and having a chat with me. So Jessica Harris is with us today. She's a music therapist and she's based in Dublin. I'd love to hear about you and maybe just a little small introduction as to what you're up to right now even.
Sure. It's great to be with you, Vicky. Thank you so much. I guess we'll let them in on the secret that we had a little chat yesterday.
Yes.
We had a mini preview. So we'll let our listeners in on the secret. So it's just great to be with you today. Yeah, so I'm here. Well, I live in South Dublin, but I guess I have a wonderful varied work life all around Dublin really. I travel a little bit. I feel so blessed to have had that amazing experience and to have that variety, and I guess that's one of the things that I've learned in my career is to put on a different hat each day.
Yes.
So right now today I was actually just working with some wonderful younger people that I see. I work in two schools through the Ballymun Music program, which I am so blessed to work with. And I absolutely love that work. So that's definitely part of my work. Part of my work is, again, I'm so blessed to work with the Royal Irish Academy of Music. So a music conservatoire that runs a music therapy clinic, which is unique and trailblazing, and it's great to be a part of it. And they're currently rebuilding and building us a beautiful new music therapy space. So I'm so excited to see and experience that with my
They really
clients.
trust it, don't they? They really trust that process and are just giving you a space, especially. It's amazing.
That's a really, really beautiful way of looking at it, Vicky. Yeah, I mean, even before I came on, I ran a pilot program initially back in 2016. And Deborah, who's the director, is just so, I suppose, passionate and forward thinking, and you know, for what kind of space the academy can be, how we can create an inviting, inclusive space, and how we can expand people's ideas as well. Because obviously it's a music training center, so they hold degrees there too, and how we can expand people's awareness of what a music career can look like, you know, because these guys are top performers. That's what I had imagined my career would look like right at the beginning. And so to expand that vision, and to see and to sort of be part of the wonder and the benefits and the impact and the beauty that music can have is a real privilege as well. So even before I stepped in to do a pilot project, Deborah showed me the plans. She was so excited. And I don't have a spatial brain, so I was looking at this huge sheet of plans going, this looks amazing. I see a big space here that says music therapy. And yeah, so I'm really, really, really excited about that too. At the moment, I have to say, I have to have a shout out to the Museum of Literature Ireland, which is on Stephen's Green, which is where we are currently based. They have been so welcoming, so warm, so kind. We step up the stairs like we're Georgian landladies and landlords. And we make all this sound all around the building and it echoes. And they are always so kind in their communications and their warm welcome. So yeah, huge thanks to Molly, who have been our temporary home in the meantime.
That's
Yeah.
gorgeous. And you're working underneath the name of Mind Music, is that correct?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
my new website, and it was one of these, Vicky. Sometimes I get these crazy ideas at about 2 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes even later, they pop into my head like little light bulbs.
Brilliant.
And Mind Music was one of these. You can picture the light bulb flashing above my head. I just really like the name, so I locked down the domain straight away. And over lockdown, that was one of my, thanks to Dún Laoghaire Rathdown Enterprise Board, they supported me to develop the website during lockdown last year. Completed this February in 2021. So
Wonderful.
yes, it's a kind of a lovely platform for the work that I do, and hopefully the expansion of the work I do as well, which would be really great.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've come into this place, this beautiful museum of literature, and you're making a racket, and nobody's batting an eyelid. They're happy to have you, which is just
Right, we're carrying through all the way to
gorgeous.
yeah, that's it. That's it. Well, the beauty of it is because obviously, in our therapy space we do have the doors closed, but we are actually we have been the only people in the building as well, which is really great. So even though we're making a lot of sound, we do have a sense of privacy to it too, and confidentiality, because we have been the only people in the space.
Amazing. And who comes to the space to see you? Would it be mostly children or adults?
It is actually, it's so people can self-refer, they can refer themselves. So I have, again, even within this one aspect of my career at the moment, I have a beautiful variety. So anyone can self-refer, or carers or parents can refer their children, loved ones. I Other therapists can refer to me as well within the academy. So they're my main points for referral.
Brilliant.
So yeah, so it can be absolutely across the age range. I have some wonderful older adults, lots of young children. I guess predominantly my referrals come from parents and carers of young children who are predominantly experiencing autism, and some even, it's actually a beautiful thing, because some I have kind of seen grow from when they first came in, from really, really, really young, maybe 4 or 5, and they had siblings. Even I have one beautiful young man who comes in, and he had a tiny baby sister when he first came, and now she's she's so grown up, and they have another tiny little brother as well.
Oh,
And he's growing up at such a lightning speed too. So yeah, so I think a lot of parents and carers who come to me actually would say that they have been on waiting lists. It's extremely challenging to access the intervention they need. And and they are looking for a really meaningful intervention while they're waiting for this, while they're sort of in limbo, waiting on these waiting lists. And as we know, music therapy can address, I suppose, all all aspects of our development, our physical development, speech and language development, our communication development, our so that's kind of the beauty of it as well. So with one intervention, with one therapy, we can really target all those goals from a young age.
okay. And so let's say I refer someone on to you. You would you do a consultation at the first point of contact, or how does it work? How do you set goals, and I suppose how do you decide as well, without too much detail, I suppose, just a kind of idea of how you begin the process, I suppose, and what people might
Sure.
expect if they were to
Sure. So
see you.
generally, a referral would come in via email, and it would be an inquiry, and it would start with a conversation. So our very first conversations, and this would kind of almost be beginning the assessment process. So we would have a good chat, and I like to find out the reason that somebody is being referred. So that usually tells me a lot about people's what our goals may be shaping, may be shaped like, and what people's expectations, maybe parents' expectations or carers' expectations may look like. And we just have a really and we just have a really lovely conversation. I suppose the other things I really love to find out are things like, has someone been exposed to music before? What have their responses been to music? And do they have favorite music? Because music can act like this incredible magical motivational force. And so to click into that, we need to think about what someone's favorite music is. And so to find out, so we start, I suppose, by looking at that side of the picture and filling in all those answers. And then the actual assessment stage would begin, where we have sessions, and we would be looking at how we were responding to each other and how our client was responding to the music, and looking at the fit and the dynamic, and again fine-tuning our goals and thinking about holistically what our goals might be. Because I guess expectations they're a big word, and communication is a big word, you know. So, and we communicate in so many beautiful and wonderful varieties, and I guess the power of music, some of that lies in the fact that we can communicate so responsively through music without words. So we're looking at how we can open up those channels, and so sometimes we may come in with expectations around maybe a verbal communication, but what we might get is maybe communication in such an absolutely multifaceted way within sessions, and that musical conversation can be so important. I think we touched on this a little bit when we began our conversation yesterday, but I do tend to use quite a bit of improvisation. I know a lot of music therapists do. And I suppose the beauty of that is, like I said, having a conversation, it just tells me so much about how someone is relating, you know, to their peers, to their families, and in their wider communities. And when that channel of communication has been closed for a long time, say someone is coming to me as an adult, then every time that channel is open, all that time that we have together, when that communication and that channel and that is open and available to them, and they have that, and their authentic selves can shine through and actually speak through the music, that is such precious time. So we really don't have any time to waste when we begin seeing someone. So
really like that you said that their authentic self, it's like something about them being alive in that moment, and that aliveness and authenticity shining through. And I really love improv. Like I do playback theater myself, and I love that impromptu and just moving through the body or the voice. I love that. I just think it's incredible. But to do it with a witness, or to collaborate with somebody in that space, I'm sure it's very profound.
Very powerful. And there's so many ways of being with someone musically in a conversation. You know, there are so many nuances and ways in which you can support, accompany, listen to someone in a musical conversation. So that was really beautifully said, I think, Vicky. Thank you. So I guess that's the added layer that maybe music brings, you know. Oliver Sacks calls it the quickening, which is a beautiful way of describing it. And he uses that word in consideration of, say, maybe an older generation, older adults who maybe are experiencing dementia or Alzheimer's disease, and how they respond when they're engaging with, say, their favorite songs or their favorite music. And he calls it a quickening. And I say, just like you said, it's an authentic self just shining through, really, a quickening to their real selves, to their true selves, and reaching that space, and music reaching that space. And the neurology behind it is so fascinating. But I think how we respond to music still has a layer of magic to it that we don't fully understand. But I mean, we can see now with MRIs and CAT scans,
Yes.
like our brains, the fireworks that happen when we're making and listening to music. And it's there's no doubt it's unique, because scientists have looked at this, for example, with sports, and with other creative arts. And I believe every creative art has something beautiful and unique to bring. But with music, and this neurological fireworks that happens, and the fact that it lights up so many aspects of our brain, and the structures of music are wrapped up in so many incredible aspects that we process like fast as lightning. For example, we process rhythm fast as lightning. We unpack the emotion of music fast as lightning. We attach memories to music, and we can recall them fast as lightning. So all these structures, and pitch, of course, and melody, all these structures that are within music, that our brains are faster than the fastest computer that we can possibly imagine, in terms of recognizing that music and all those aspects of the music that are within that. It's just incredible. It's fascinating, and it is magical. And then the other part of that, I think, is that our favorite music lights us up differently to other music. So, that's why our preferences are so important. So I guess maybe when people begin to examine the relationship between music and our health and our communication, and the impact that music can have, there have been lots of I suppose, discussion around classical music, and maybe does it have a different impact than other types of music, or the Mozart effect? Well, what we know is that it's our musical preferences that are what we really, really need to tap into to have this beautiful impact of music. So we absolutely know that. So music that I might find incredibly moving, that might really stir different emotions in me, might have a completely different effect when you respond to the music. So I guess it's us who responds to the music. It's not the music that induces the response, or encourages or enhances the response. It's us who respond to the music. And how we do that, again, is so unique and individual. And that's, again, part of the magical aspect of music.
And then I suppose it becomes a very different communication then as well. I suppose if you're coming from that point of view, like you said, that would be something that you would ask a new client, when you're in that referral process of like, what is their favorite? So it's like a meeting point, like a bridge that you find, and then you use that to kind of help that communication, like that foundation of that relationship. I suppose it's really nice to be inviting of that, like. Yeah.
That's another beautiful way of putting it. And I mean, that absolutely, you've just expressed it so beautifully. And also the motivation that we can kind of that we can engage through that. So trying to reach for example, our goals around maybe movement, or around speech and language. But how much easier is that when you've got your favorite music that you're when you've got your music that you're also responding to and also engaging with? How much easier are those goals to achieve when you've got that added motivational impact? So
definitely. And just to go back, if we were to just take a step back, you have your own I suppose experiences of developing your personal love of music. So like maybe even like, when was the first time that you picked up an instrument, and how long has it been in your I suppose your way of expressing and your way of communicating to the world? How long has it been part of you?
That is such a good question. I had wonderful teachers in primary school who definitely started my love for music. And the recorder was one of the first instruments I tried. I had a lovely teacher called Anne Mabin. I had several fantastic teachers from from when I was in primary school, and I remember I was playing the recorder and Mum was finding it very jarring on the ear. And I was like, I was loving it, but I was like, Mum, I really think that this recorder is not working for me. I really think I need a better recorder. And eventually she gave in and she was like, oh my goodness, she did just need
Oh, amazing. That's brilliant.
And for 2 years, the oboe was my main instrument. And I think part of that because I wanted to find my own individual and unique way to shine. And I think that's part of what music brings for everyone. I think that. So for 2 years, I begged my parents to play the oboe, but I had seen the oboe being played in a band in the park, and I wanted to find the most unusual instrument that I could to start with. Just something.
Gorgeous.
And I think that's what music did. I think I wanted to find my niche, and I found it amongst wonderful people and friends who I have. I mean, I have friends from 11 and 12 years old now through the music community, through playing in orchestras when we were younger. And I mean, it's like such a shared, incredible experience that you have when you play music and play these wonderful pieces of music with people. So I really found my niche, found my place amongst my friends in music, and that was so important to me because school was a little bit tougher. It was an all-girls school, and even though my teachers were incredibly supportive, I didn't always fit in terms of my classmates or the social aspects around school. So I found that through music, and that was just so important to me. And as I grew up, I realized that was possibly one of the biggest gifts that music had given me, that feeling of community and belonging and friendship, and that shared special experience that really, really happens when you blend and create music with people. And I guess the oboe was kind of a perfect instrument because being a woodwind instrument, like, you have your moments to shine, you're not in a group of 20 violins.
Yes.
So you have your moments to shine, and then you have your moments to blend, and both are equally of equal importance. And I think that was because that was another way that I spoke and that I found my niche was through not just through finding friendship, but also through finding my musical space as well. So that was again of such importance.
So you were in the Irish National Youth Orchestra.
That's right. Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. Like, that's lovely.
Oh, well,
yeah.
I mean, I had some of my best, really, really best times and best friendships forged through the youth orchestra. And I was in a few youth orchestras at the time, and then I played a little bit with the Symphony Orchestra here, the National Symphony Orchestra, and concert orchestras. And I was really, really privileged, and I thought that I would continue on to be a music performer. And I think most people who maybe come through the academy and choose music as their career, I would say that is part of their wish to be a performer. But I'd always had it in my mind to explore, I suppose, the benefits that music can bring for others, how I can benefit others. I mean, I suppose that kind of comes from a bit of an ethos in my family. My dad, for example, would always have done a lot of charity work and does now. And I guess that was in my psyche, that kind of and that ethos of giving. How can we give back to our communities and to the people around us? But I kind of got propelled. I got propelled on a fast track back in around 2007. So my little sister, who's miraculous, A lot of people know this about me and our family, but she was in a car accident over in Vancouver, where we have a lot of wonderful family living. And she's an absolute miracle. And if you met her today, I mean, she's just fabulous. She pursued acting, and she's actually doing some great work at the moment, which is really exciting. So we're going to get to see her on the big screen soon. Yeah. But she was in a car accident, and I guess that just changed the focus of my life and made me I was living in London at the time. I had done my degree here in the academy, and then I had gone over to the Royal College of London to do my master's. And I had just finished my master's, and I was kind of wondering about what direction I was going to take. When my sister's accident happened. So we flew over there, and we were there for about 2 months, and she was amazing. And I guess that space of with brain injuries, and my sister, thankfully she was very young, because it meant that the neural pathways could really recover really effectively, because her brain was still developing and still new. But there are no direct immediate answers for people who have experienced brain injury, and the conclusions aren't always obvious from MRIs. I mean, so some of what we were hearing was really scary, but we worked with my sister, and she made amazing progress. I mean, just sorry, I know this is getting really personal, and we're going away a little bit from music therapy, but one example is when she came back to Ireland, because she had to kind of become reorientated to where she was before she could be moved, but she got the best care in Canada. And she came back to the NRH, the Neuro Rehabilitation Hospital. And the OT from the NRH came with a wheelchair platform, because they had received all the information about my sister. And I was like, no, she's definitely walking. She's definitely walking, like, so she's right. And they didn't realize, well, it's just her progress was that fast, really, and she came back, and I remember I was like, she was content for a while to just be in the wheelchair, who wouldn't be? That's the wheel me around here. This is great. I was like, happy pop now, show them, you're going to make a liar out of me. So she did, and they couldn't believe it. They were like, are you sure this is the same scans that we were looking at here? Are you positive?
Yeah, is this the same person? Like,
yeah, but she had met a music therapist in Canada. She didn't have a lot of sessions, but basically it definitely changed the focus of my life. And when I came here, my mum was fundraising for the rehab hospital, and she was on a radio program, and she happened to be on a radio program with a professor who turned out to be one of the lecturers in UL. And I had been a little bit late, given everything that had happened. I'd been late giving in my forms to apply for the course in UL for the Masters in Music Therapy, but he said pop them in, and I did, and that's how my career started.
Incredible. Like, what an introduction, I suppose, into the career, and it, like, just finding you, and just kind of pulling you towards it, like a magnet or something.
Absolutely.
It's really lovely. Like, so you've had this really transitional kind of period, I suppose, of kind of being a performer, then seeing a different outlook, and needing some more kind of active giving back, I suppose, in that way. And I think, as a performer, you definitely do give back to the people that see you and witness you, and it's a lovely exchange. But I can imagine, as a music therapist, then it just changes it again, because it's like that impromptu, in the moment, feeling the feelings as they come up with somebody, and still getting that performance part of you, I'm sure, does that feel satisfied at the same time? Or
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think it's really important. I think you raised a few topics there. One thing I guess I am so passionate about music, and I love music so much, and I love performing, and I have to embrace that part of me as well outside of the therapy space. So for me, it just felt like such a gift from to me, like when I was playing music with people and when I was performing.
yes.
And so but I think you've raised two really important points. One is that aspect has to be fulfilled outside of the therapy space. The second is the importance of my own personal therapy, which I went through, and I think that's probably really, really important to stress, because a lot of us who go into this space, into a therapeutic career, we are. I mean, I think everybody comes from their own experiences, and to address those and to be able to be fully present for someone in the therapy space is so important. So I think it's really important to highlight that I went through that, and ongoing. I will always probably I'm a huge advocate for attending my own personal therapy, so I can be as present and available to someone as I possibly can. So I think that's really, really important. And the other aspect is, yeah, I think it's really, really important to keep that love and joy for music alive outside the therapy space as well. I think that's a part of me that has to be fulfilled, and that's again part of recognizing me, what I bring, what I don't want to bring, and what I do want to bring into the space, and part of the consideration and the awareness of all that, which is part of being a therapist. So yeah, I think that's really important points you raised.
Yeah. So like doing art and creating art for yourself is part of your self-care then.
100%. It would feel like part of me was missing if I didn't continue doing that, and the therapy space, I mean, that's for me being present with someone else and being, as we say, a part of a conversation, part of music making with someone else, part of that experience with someone else. That's not that. So I have to fulfill that part of me, that space, that is the performer, that is the musician, the person who loves to create music with others, who just loves sort of dwelling in that sound sometimes, and and making music. So
yeah, little Jess needs to have her moment to play the most unique instrument.
That's true. And actually now I think it's probably singing that is probably more my outlet than oboe at the moment. Oboe is one of these instruments that well, it's like singing with an instrument in your mouth, really. It is, but also it's actually quite complex in terms of just picking it up and playing, which sounds confusing. But the reed part of the oboe, I mean, you're just not guaranteed to be able to express yourself the way you want to, actually, with an oboe, because of the reed. It can be really it's just made of bamboo cane. It's extremely temperamental, delicate. I mean, like I'd say oboes spend 99.9% of the time either making reeds or talking about reeds. So and that's like your voice, the reed is like your voice. So sometimes it's just easier to sing because that's your voice straight away, that's your voice right there, ready.
Yes, of course. That makes so much sense. So that's brilliant. So like you're giving yourself, your body is now your instrument, like it's part of you and you get to express through, which is gorgeous. And do you find, I suppose, then that in this space with clients, because you're then well attuned to your own voice and maybe a little bit more comfortable of using your voice in the space, that maybe it could be an invitation to sing along with you in moments. Do you find that helps people, that like you're
That's really
really well practiced? Do you know what I mean? Like,
That's really interesting. I think working with people and their voices takes another level of special awareness, because, as you say, your voice is so unique and personal to you. I've worked with people who weren't quite ready to sing, and that we've developed then into singing.
lovely.
Yeah, that's really, really, really interesting. And I guess having an awareness of where someone needs to start with that, or creating that invitation, as you put it, to use your voice, and an awareness of giving someone the space to use their voice.
Yes. Yeah. Lovely.
So that they do feel that invitation, they feel the opportunities. A lot of what we do actually is about creating space. If the space isn't there, then where does someone allow their voice to be heard, and where's the invitation, as you put it? Like, isn't music beautiful that way, that you can just, like, music can leave you in such suspension that you have no option but to jump in. Like, if I go da 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 da, you just like you know what I mean? Like, of course, like, and that's the most simple example that I can think of, but there's so many ways of creating music that just, like, you have to jump in, because it leaves you with no other option.
Yeah, I actually heard on the radio maybe 2 days ago that this particular woman was at a kind of farmers market during the week, and I think it was down in Cork, and they were, for some reason, she loves to sing, so she decided that she would just start singing a song. So she started singing Molly Malone, and everyone joined in, and the whole marketplace, like everyone. And then she said they went into "Oh Rose, shade of a yeah," and they just, all of them, like, just going for it, belting it out. And I think that is the thing that's going to really help us heal, is just that if we can now, with, you know, the celebrations of being fully vaccinated like yourself, but like just celebrating, and I think song, you know, we haven't been permitted to do it, and it's such a weird thing for us, as I think Irish, you know, it's innately in us, it's just part of our makeup, you know.
Big space that we've been missing. It's huge. It's really huge. Oh, you're so right. I mean, it's amazing. It is. I think it's in human DNA, actually.
No, it totally is.
Right back. I mean, when we
Yeah.
think about the history of singing and how people use singing, I mean, it's for gathering, it's for communication, it's for celebration. It's you know, it's for celebration of the important milestones in our life. Like, they are all crucial to human development, you know, way back down across the ages, how we developed as humanity. So like, I've been really missing it.
Absolutely. Like, when I think about it as well, like, you know, those pivotal times in a human's life, I suppose, where it can be like, I suppose those transitional times, like, and even those times when we have to say goodbye to loved ones, but just those kind of processing times, we do usually kind of need song to help us in those transitional times. And I think, you know, like, singing it out and singing it together, like you said, it's kind of ritualistic in a lot of ways.
Sorry, that's my little dog coming in to say hello to you.
Gorgeous.
But yeah, when we think, I mean, of the development of humanity, and I mean, of how we, even from the earliest stages, calling to each other through music, communicating through music and sound, and gathering, and even, you know, celebrating our religions as well. I suppose that's that's been one of the kind of more traditionalist, you know, ways in which we've sung. But like, just right back from the beginning of humanity, really, like, how important singing has been.
It can create euphoria, it can create the depths of sadness and despair, but I just think it's so powerful. I have a question for you, I suppose. Just, what would you say would be the best part of being a music therapist?
Oh, that's a lovely question. There are so many great parts. There really, really are. The best part of me being a music therapist, I think, is when you get those moments of pure communication with someone, and you realize, yeah, when you get those moments of pure communication and you open those channels for someone who may not have had those channels of communication open before, and you can just feel the impact and the power of that moment and of the music that you're making together, and that's definitely the best part. That's the best part.
Yeah.
And I would add to that, like, because because all of our work, I mean, we're doing it so that someone can bring the impact of our sessions outside of the sessions as well. So when, say, a carer or someone's friends or a wider community gets to see that authentic person, that authentic self shine through as well, that's also pretty amazing. So
Yeah.
and that can greatly affect how then that person is in communication with them or with those around.
It's a real ripple effect, isn't it?
Yeah. And that can be really special and powerful too. So yeah, I think that's my favorite part.
And what do you think then, like, would be, I suppose, the things that, like, let's say you introduce yourself to a stranger and you're like, I'm a music therapist. What do you think their misconceptions are? Like, what do you think they're like going in their head, like planting ideas in their heads? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, the biggest word that comes up when I mean, sometimes I lie. I'm not gonna lie to you, Vicky. And sometimes I lie and just say I'm a musician, but when I feel like having that but no, when I do have that conversation and people are really interested, because people are really interested, really interested and really open and really very kind in their explorations of what music therapy might be. And I think one of the biggest words that comes up is relaxation. So people kind of think, okay, she's going to be playing some relaxing music and
Trying to get you to sleep.
That's about as far as they get then. Yeah. Yeah. That's about as far as they get, when actually music therapy is such an active and responsive modality. You know, it's so active, it's so responsive, it's so it's a doing.
It's alive in that moment, isn't it?
It's a doing. Musicking as which is a word that's been used before, but it's much more active, than I think than people imagine sometimes.
Definitely. And I've seen, like, pictures of you at work, and you have this beautiful parachute that you use as well, and it's very active and colorful, and so, you know, depending on who obviously is with you, but you know, it's amazing that, you know, so many other aspects that people just wouldn't have an idea of what a music therapist does. But so I suppose just that feeling of connection with the person in the space in that moment, and then connecting to themselves, if it's song or them playing an instrument, or even just song choice, they're still connecting. So it's like, like, you know, that my world connects with your world in this moment, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah
I can hear you.
It's lovely. I can hear you. I've been heard, and then that ripples then. I was seen and heard today. So nice. Thank you so much, Jess. This has been gorgeous. I love chatting with you.
I've enjoyed chatting to you just as much.
Oh, it's so lovely. Like yesterday we tried, we gave it a good go yesterday with chatting.
We did.
My Wi-Fi was just failing. So no, this has been lovely. So Jess, like, if people were to reach out and do that self-referral part, if they have someone that they know that would benefit from music therapy, how can they reach you? How can they find you?
That's really, really kind of you. So they could have a look at mindmusic.ie. and there's a contact form there, or they can reach me through the Royal Irish Academy of Music, riam.ie, or they could just reach me by email as well. So there is a contact form on the mindmusic.ie site, but I'll give you my email as well. It's jessruthharris@gmail.com, or Facebook Jessica Harris Music as well if they wanted.
Lovely, yeah. And if they're following you on your Facebook page, they'll see things like the music marathon that you did for
Yeah.
and lots of lovely things that you have constantly put up on that page. So it's worth a follow.
Thank you. I've been so busy recently that I've been neglecting it a little bit, but
no more than the rest. Gosh, at this time of year, I find that we all just do. It's not like the wintering time when we're kind of a little bit more reflective. I think it's a little bit more that doing. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
I think social media gets neglected a little bit, and that's allowed.
Well, I will endeavor to update more for sure. But it's a great thing. There's loads of lovely things happening at the moment, so I will definitely endeavor to update.
Lovely. Thank you so much. And of course you're on the ICAT Council as well, so they can find you an ICAT website as well if people want to go that way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important to mention, isn't it? That's kind of the first place that we would go to find a registered therapist here in Ireland. So that's really important to say as well.
Yeah, all the good registered ones are there, absolutely. And thank you so much. And it's lovely to spread the word of music therapy and its benefits in Ireland, and just watch this space, I suppose, with the work that you're doing, and anyone would be lucky to have you working with them or for them.
That's so kind. Thank you so much, Vicky, and likewise.
No problem.
Likewise.